How sound looks okay?
Go ahead and start streaming. It's live, you know.
It's live.
Get on your little.
Do it live.
Get on your spike. Okay. All right, you want to go on mine? All right, we should be live. I don't know if we are. It's very loud here. But I am Jeff Geerling. This is Chris from Crosstalk Solutions, and we are live at LTX 2023. It's been crazy today. Lines everywhere. Very fun. I think Jake is back here. He's going to be on in a second. But he's been here for like 3 hours now signing things. And I got my Red Shirt Jeff red screwdriver.
All right.
So anyway, we got a lot coming up. There's 10 creators going to be on the stream. And we're going to try raising money for the ITDRC. I hadn't heard about them until you had done a video on it, I think last year or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, 1,000%. So the ITDRC is a charitable organization. It's the Information Technology Disaster Resource Center. And the purpose of this organization is to respond to communities in crisis. So when there is a hurricane or a flood or tornadoes or in the
Streaming. There we go. Okay, go. Okay.
We'll do it live. All right, are we back on?
Okay,
all right,
technical
so
difficulties.
The OBS crashed is what happened. That's the technical difficulty.
Don't unplug anything, just keep going.
Okay, which camera am I in?
Just
All right, Jeff, I'm going to scoot over a little closer to you.
fine.
All right, so let me start over with the ITDRC one more time. So this live stream is to benefit the ITDRC, the Information Technology Disaster Resource Center. And they're an organization that responds to communities in crisis after a hurricane or a flood, tornadoes in the Midwest, right, or wildfires in the Pacific Northwest. They deploy out to make sure that first responders as well as the local communities have all of the connectivity that they need, whether it's internet connectivity, phones, printers, laptops, tablets. They come out and they make sure that everyone is up and running, because sometimes it can take weeks or months for services to be restored to these areas. So we are very happy to be representing the ITDRC for this stream, and we have a little bit of video to show you about the ITDRC. Roll it, DJ.
Well, we say our tagline is connecting communities in crisis, but really it is to bring technical resources and emergency communications to communities after a disaster, and then help them with resources till they're able to kind of stand on their own. Fires, floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes are all things that our resources be helpful for. They impact the communities, and so we respond accordingly.
The services we provide, I like to say, if it's technical, we provide it, whether that's computers to access the internet itself. We bring Wi-Fi connectivity networks, printers, scanners, telephones. If it has an on-off switch, likely we've got it in our cache.
But also we provide people and technical expertise. Our folks come from the tech industry, so in their day jobs they have quite a bit of technical experience, and we'll lend that to a community in the days after. So we follow the 10 FEMA regions. We have regional directors, deputy directors. We have state coordinators in a lot of our states. We've also ventured into some of the international disasters when there were significant events, needed some additional resources.
We understand that critical infrastructure and public safety services are paramount to starting relief and recovery efforts post-disaster, and technology plays a huge role in that.
Okay. All right,
so the ITDRC, right? Wonderful organization. They can absolutely use any donations that you can spare. And if you're interested in volunteering, it's definitely something that I recommend. I am an ITDRC volunteer myself. Very easy to do, and it is such a wonderful experience. Plus, we will be matching all donations. Once we hit $500,
Yep.
I will transition into sandals with socks.
Linus sandals.
Linus sandals with socks, and then we have some more tiers after that as well. And I think we were pretty close to that. I was going to match 500. Jeff is matching 500 as well. So we very much appreciate
If we can hit 500, he's going to go donate another 500. We'll hit 1,000 pretty quick. So go ahead and do that. And also, thanks so much to Rack Studs for sponsoring the stream. There's a lot of equipment here that I had to bring and all the stuff I had to do. So thanks to them. And I have a little message for them.
If you're tired of offering the blood sacrifice every time you put in a new piece of rack mount gear, Rack Studs has the answer. Honestly, I hadn't tried them before because I thought they were expensive compared to these little finger slicers, which you can get for next to nothing. But then I tried them. No more special tools. No more sliced up fingers. No more cage nuts buried forever in the bowels of your rack. And they even have the new RackStuds Duo, which makes installing 1U devices that much faster. Grab yours online at rackstuds.com, and thanks so much to RackStuds for sponsoring this live stream. Now, back to LTX.
All right.
I said I wasn't going to talk to Red Shirt Jeff.
Well, until I showed you the red screwdriver.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
You win.
So some of us would say you're living every Homelabber's dream with the things that you get to play with at LTT. My question is, your home lab. You don't get to see your home lab that much, but what do you have at your house?
I have a 30-bay Storinator, which is kind of baller. I won it from work. I sold it to Wendell, and then I traded him a 60-bay. I just said that online. I hope that's okay. He's looking at me like it's fine. Anyway, so I got it back, and I still got the money for it, so I paid nothing for it. Thanks, Wendell. But it's great.
So doing all these things at LTT and having the fun equipment you have at home.
Yes.
Like, do you actually get excited about doing home lab stuff, or is it just like, I just kind of keep it running?
Honestly, it's kind of just keeping it running. It's less because I'm not excited about it, and it's more just because I do a lot of other things. I like to work on cars. That's one of my big hobbies. So that takes up a lot of my spare time. Yep. So doing Homelab, it's kind of just keeping it running, honestly, these days. I do try to, every once in a while, I'm like, I want to try this new chart and TrueNAS.
Yep.
But that's pretty much where it ends up.
A question I've seen a lot from the community is, how do you learn all this stuff? Because you're not like 50 years old. You haven't been a network admin for 30 years.
Google, YouTube, Reddit.
LTT.
Yeah, originally, yeah. Just learn how to Google well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the live stream.
But that's it? That's all?
This is short. We're a little bit actually, we have another minute.
What's another question?
Okay. Yeah, the whale land area. So can you tell me a little bit about this? Are you guys going to do a video on it?
We are going to do a video about it. I think Chris is going to do a video about it too.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome. The Steam cache is so overpowered. If you were to see that thing right there, you see the I/O weight?
Move the camera.
The I/O weight is at 0%. When I was testing it at 200 gig, we were pulling down at 200 gig to test while also pre-filling on a separate machine, and the I/O weight was 2%.
All right.
It is very fast. Genoa is nuts.
The red light went on, which means we have 30 seconds left. Can you tell me what's the favorite thing you've seen today so far?
Oh my gosh, the
3D printer on someone's back?
The 3D printer on someone's back was pretty cool. I signed. Oh, somebody had a camera that used a floppy disk to write to, and he took a photo of me, then gave me the floppy disk to sign, put it back in, and showed me the photo.
All right, well, we have RackStuds, one for you,
oh, great.
which I'm sure that you don't have any, and one to give away, or you could just give away both.
Okay.
To somebody. All right.
Goodbye.
See you later. All right, Patrick.
Awesome.
Come on over here. Patrick is from ServeTheHome, a YouTube channel that has taken off lately, doing some awesome stuff. Now, Patrick, you have a big personality, but you do lots of things with tiny computers.
I do,
and
yes.
The #1 video on your channel is on the R86S little, like it has two 10 gig ports
Little
and stuff.
tiny boxes like that big with two 10 gig ports and 2.5 gig.
And do you know who left the top comment on that video?
Let me think. I think it was you, actually. Yeah.
Something about OCP3 or something crazy. But so you have had more experience than anyone. I have like 2 tiny PCs at home. You have like, I don't know, 100 or so.
I know my wife is watching this because she commented on your hair. And yes, we do have too many mini PCs at home. I can tell you that.
So as someone who's used them all, what do you think would be the best mini PC that somebody could start with? Or should they not start with a mini PC? Should they start with something else?
Yeah, I think, R86S is really cool, but there's also these fanless mini PCs that we've done a number of reviews on that have 4 2.5 gig Ethernet. Those are great for routers.
If you're tired of offering the blood sacrifice every time,
Things like Project Tiny Mini Micro, the 1 liter PCs from Dell, Lenovo, and HP. And those things are phenomenal, especially starting with the 8th Gen core and newer processors. And then, some of the newer PCs, the new little mini PCs, you can actually play games on them. And that's, that's pretty cool just to be able to have a little PC that's that big and not have to have a big GPU, not have something loud.
Yeah.
So
if somebody had the opportunity to get a used Dell R720 or a mini PC, what do you think they should do for their first server?
I actually think that you should do a Tiny Mini Micro PC because they use way less power, they're not loud, And also, I just kind of think that the one thing you get with the Dell would be you learn iDRAC. So if you're learning that at work, that's great. But otherwise, I think that the old mini PCs are much less expensive to buy and then also operate.
Have you seen any servers here at LTX yet?
Oh, I don't think I've really seen that many, although this thing is pretty cool. And Jake was kind of showing me around all the networking, which is pretty darn awesome, I'll say.
Yep. What's your favorite thing you've done today so far?
The favorite thing I've done so far today, I can tell you exactly what that is. That is you were putting together a Linus Tech Tips screwdriver, and this one right here, and I actually recorded Jeff doing that, and also Linus jumping around and like looking at Jeff try to make this screwdriver. So that was a lot of fun.
Linus told me I shouldn't do it all red, but I was like, come on.
Yeah, and I messed up mine, so that had to go through a break fix process.
We're gonna do color, but it was like
we switched it though.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Oops.
awesome.
But I got you on video for that.
He did. He videoed me. I videoed him. So
Yep.
yeah.
So another question I have is, you've done a lot of enterprise gear, high-end stuff, and a lot of low-end things. What's the most fun for you to talk about, work on, tests?
I like doing both of them. Sometimes, we just did the AMD Epic Bergamo. That's super cool. We have Xeon Max coming up. We have workstation side.
Those chips are like this big.
Yeah, they're huge. And we're doing 3 different builds with Xeon W. That'll be live on Monday.
Oh, Monday.
And then that's an awesome video. And then I love the little mini PCs, just seeing those and all the networking for them. It's just a lot of fun to have different little clusters and being able to do that in a small footprint, low power. And so if you have an apartment or something like that, they're very easy to go and house somewhere.
Yep. And Chris, did we get 500 yet?
You're at 1,000.
Oh, did you do your match?
I'm gonna sneak in when Wendell comes in.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, so we're gonna do that. Make sure you're donating to the ITDRC. We have some other things too besides just sandals. There's some fun things we're gonna do.
Awesome.
And I have a couple rack studs for you. I'm sure that you need rack studs,
Phenomenal.
but you can give them away to somebody too if you, So there you go. And we actually have a tiny bit more time.
Okay.
So I did have one more question too.
Shoot.
How do you benchmark switches that have hundreds of gigabits? Because I don't even have anything that's 100 gigabits in my house.
Yeah.
And even if I did, I know I've had trouble with 10 gigabits getting benchmarks like full 10 gig.
Yeah. So big things are number one, learning the snake, which I learned at a switch vendor. They use that with their big Spirent tool, so the snake is a big deal. And then the other thing is, I think you've actually seen just the amount of fiber that we have around. Being able to have even just the cables, the SFPs, all that kind of stuff. That is a huge part of being able to do it. So,
Yep. All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We got the blinking red light
guys.
for. Oh, that's plugged in. You want to unplug that? So for anybody who didn't see my video on this, this is our little timer, and now we're cutting into Wendell's time. So, Chris, are you going to do your sandals? All right, Wendell, come on over here. So Chris is currently putting on the Linus sandals. You want to get a quick shot of that? Because we hit our first goal of 1,000.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I don't remember what the other goals are. But if we hit our, at this point, if we hit 1,500, I will give another 500, match that donation to get to $2,000. So, yeah. So anyway, good job, Chris. So Wendell, I noticed that you had a stream of people floating around you pretty much everywhere you went. Some of us haven't ever been to an LTX. How does this compare to the last one that you were at?
This one is larger.
Little
Very,
bit?
very larger.
Yeah.
But also, it was at the same place, but it was at the other side. So this one is larger
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah. Every line that I've been in is about 10 times longer than I would have expected so far. Hopefully tomorrow it'll die down a little bit after people get through all the things.
It's awesome running into people that are like, oh yeah, I changed my career because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wow, okay, you bet your career on me. No pressure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like if somebody watches LTT long enough, they see you're kind of like tech support for Linus and Jake and their shenanigans. So how long have you been on YouTube now?
Like 10 years.
Yeah. So
It's a fun hobby.
yeah, and it seems like you enjoy what you're doing. You have a team that, you have your, is it twice a week or once a week?
It's like twice a week.
Yeah,
I don't
twice a
know.
week you have those news segments that are fun to watch. I put them on in the background, listen to it, and then I hear something and listen to it. What is your advice to anybody who wants to get started doing tech on YouTube, something like that?
Do something useful, like how to, or just like you share your passion, like you go through a thing and you suffer, but you also figure a bunch of stuff out. Like documenting that is hugely valuable.
Yeah.
And that's what people really enjoy.
That's what, I mean, I started doing my blog like that. So another thing is, I found it funny, after I did a video on hardware RAID cards from Broadcom, you posted a video, hardware RAID is dead and a bad idea in 2022 or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's your #1 video.
Yeah.
What is your opinion? Is it still?
Yeah, it's still pretty much, it's kind of, it doesn't have to be dead. It's just that almost all of the vendors implement it in a way that is not great. And almost all of the people that had kind of coherent arguments against it don't realize that the implementation that they're arguing for is still a software-based solution that's doing the thing that I want.
Yep.
And so, like, the thing that I want from a hardware RAID thing is, like, I give it a block. I want to be assured that the block that I get back is the same block that I gave it. And they don't all do that.
And you'd think with hardware they could.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very basic thing that I want, and they're like, no, the vendor is responsible for that. And it's like, have you seen the firmware on SSDs? How many times have you had to update the firmware on your SSD? Do you really trust that?
So, you know, what's funny too is I was looking at your channel before the stream. One of your top 10 videos is a record player. Well, vinyl. Yeah. I don't know what they call it these days. You know, Zoomers.
Just a random thing from a long time ago.
It's cool, big discs. Anyway, you seem to cover a breadth of material on your channel.
It's just, that's just super old. But that's just people getting into technology, looking for a way to do things. And so, like, converting records to MP3s, but with high fidelity, that's like actually kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. My dad still does VHS tapes. He has this pile of them, and he gets those in. So.
Yeah, my mom had like 4 cases of records, and that's what she did. It's like she did the thing, and it's like, you mean my entire record collection is on this thing the size of a pack of gum? And it's like, yes.
Yep.
So
what is your favorite thing about LTX this year so far?
Really just, like, I would never have guessed that there's this many people. Like, there's a lot of people.
This is like not crowded behind us.
Yeah.
Compared to the other parts.
My favorite thing is hearing people's success stories of, like, I did this thing and I changed my career, or I did this thing and I have a really amazing Homelab, or I just did this thing and my quality of life is better. And so I always love hearing that. It's very exhausting, the crowds and going through all of the stuff, and, you know, that's all a little bit of a challenge for me, but it is really awesome to be able to see that.
Right.
It's really incredible that there's enough people here. Like, there's enough of us.
Yes.
There are dozens of us, literally dozens.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on the live stream. Here's oh, sorry, I just messed that. I completely messed that one up. Here's your rack studs.
Nice.
Give them to somebody or keep them, whatever you want to do. And we're going to hand it over to Chris.
All right.
So
hold this for a second while I get that mic off. So we are at over $1,000 raised for the ITDRC already. And so please, if you have a couple bucks to spare, make sure you come on in and drop that coin. What do you say? I don't know. Up next, we have Jeff from Craft Computing. He will be here momentarily, as Jeff is my AV guy. Thank you, Jeff. And second Jeff, come in. It's like a Jeff sandwich here.
There we go. Crafty Jeff, hello.
All right, so you all know him. You all love him. Jeff from Craft Computing, welcome
Hello.
to the live stream.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, this is not your first foray with LTT, right? So back in COVID, you worked with them to bring a PC they weren't able to travel, so they shipped it to you to bring to someone who had lost theirs in a wildfire?
That's exactly right. Yeah, a gentleman named Spencer out of Medford, Oregon, lost his PC in some of the horrendous wildfires that we had that year. I think more acreage in Oregon burned that year than any year on history. In the midst of all this, he made a Reddit post and said, I lost my PC. You know, it wiped out my house, everything that I own. So I contacted Spencer and said, dude, I'm in Oregon. I want to help you out. Literally a day later, Linus's team reached out and said, Spencer, we got to help you out. We got to hook you up. So it all of a sudden became a collaboration between Linus building the PC, but international travel was completely dead. They couldn't get the PC to him or in person. So they shipped it to me. I did a little video of the unboxing and then drove it down to Spencer in Medford. So yeah.
Have you had any follow-up with Spencer since then?
I've heard that he's still doing well, that the PC was running well, but that's actually been a little over a year ago, I think, last time I talked to him. But yeah, that was an awesome experience, very humbling experience.
It was a weird time.
It was a weird time, and in that video, I remember driving into his neighborhood for the first time, and there was something like 150 homes that were leveled. 3 homes left in his neighborhood were still standing, like untouched. One of them was his grandmother's house. That's where he was staying, and that's where I met him and delivered the PC. So.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, being that we are trying to gear this live stream towards home labbing, Jeff, what do you think is a piece of gear that everyone should have in their home lab?
100 gig switch. No.
I don't even have that much.
Oh, that's just me. Sorry. Honestly, most people get into home labbing because of storage needs, whether they're hosting their own personal Plex servers or all the Linux ISOs you can download. Storage is always a big thing. And getting reliable storage onto your home network, and if you can, redundant storage onto your home network. That way things like pictures or family memories and things like that are wiped out. I'm wearing Veronica's backup shirt right now, but I myself experienced a house fire as well. Lost a couple of hard drives, lost probably 10 years worth of photos that I'll never get back. So yeah, storage is definitely my number one answer for that.
Okay, excellent. And are you Team Seagate, Team Western Digital, or other?
On the used side of things, I really like HGST. I like their helium drives, which I guess is now part of the Western Digital family, if I remember correctly. But I've used all of them. I've used, I think right now I've got right around 8 Seagate Exos drives. I've got some HGSTs. I've got some Western Digitals. I don't discriminate.
Now, this is your first LTX?
Yes, it is.
First time in Vancouver?
First time in Vancouver, first time in Canada. So,
and what has been the highlight for you so far?
Honestly, the atmosphere here is hype. I mean, that's the only way to use it, as the kids would say. There's so much enthusiasm here of getting out, not only among, all the attendees that came, but getting to meet all the creators that I haven't been able to see for 3 or 4 years, or meeting for the first time now. So I'm having an absolute blast here.
Wonderful. All right. Well, anything else you want to say to all the folks out there in YouTube land?
Boy, putting me on the spot now. I answer questions great. I don't ask them very well. Again, thank you all for watching. Obviously, this is a charity stream. And like Chris said earlier, think about volunteering. They could always use, experts or enthusiasts or anyone else who might want to help out in times of need. So,
thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have another special. Oh yeah, take your rack studs. So, Jeff just mentioned volunteering for the ITDRC, and there are some real benefits to doing that. Including the fact that a lot of the big name employers will let you take time off to volunteer for the ITDRC without it counting against your vacation time. So if you would like to volunteer, look into it, and if your employer does not offer that perk, hit them up for it. Tell them to do it. All right, we got a guy that you all should know and love. This gentleman right here is a monster of content creation. Live streams every day, multiple channels. First of all, Chris Titus from Chris Titus Tech, and first of all, how do you do it?
You just gotta find something you love and then just go for it, I think a lot of people just have a hard time starting, we're trying to put that perfection, and then it's like, no, life's not perfect, just get it out there.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing I do, is like, hey, I'm interested in this thing. My problem is trying to harness that and then just stay with it, because I skip around so much. So a lot of times I'm like, I want to do a Windows video, or no, I'm going to do Linux. And then people are like, wait, is this guy a Linux guy, or is he like a Windows guy? And I'm like, do both.
Now, have you, when you get up in the morning, I assume there are days where you're like, man, I just don't feel like doing this today.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself over that hump? And this is really not just for you, but really for anyone. Like, how can you motivate yourself?
Well, for me, it's just like, okay, what else am I going to do? You could play a game, you could do all these other things that are not productive, but a lot of times it's just like, okay, let me start, and it's really just taking that first step where you're like, okay, I'll just record 5 minutes, or I'll just record 1 minute. You might be like, this is trash, and hit delete afterwards, but it's really just taking that first step. And then once you do, usually you're like, well, I'm already here.
Right.
Let's go ahead and take the second step.
Right. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So now, recently you did a video on NixOS that I watched, and
yeah.
I loved the video. And in that video, you had mentioned that someone had offered you a significant amount of money to be a specialist in that particular platform. So with that in mind, like for anyone who's watching this, it's maybe an IT enthusiast looking to break into the industry or trying to find their career path, what advice would you give to someone that is just starting out right now?
I would say, one, get kind of just a base knowledge of a lot of things, whether it's networking, security, OSs, understand kind of the base layer, and then move into something more specialized that interests you. And I would say anything with networking, a lot of Linux stuff is vastly needed in almost every part of it. And then maybe a little bit of like Windows Server administration, just understanding Active Directory and those types of things is really important for businesses. But for NixOS, it was just really intriguing to me. I was like, one, why is someone offering me that much money to do this? That's ridiculous. And then I was like, I've never installed it. So then I was like, I'm just going to do this, and did, I think, 3 or 4 live streams over it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. So
you're going to learn it live.
And I learned it live, and then I did one like culmination video on the main channel just saying, hey, here's all the things I learned. Go learn it. And then I think there's going to be a lot more Nix engineers in the future because of that.
What do you feel is one piece of tech that everyone should have in their home lab?
I would say just a host server, and then load like XCP-ng or VMware or something like that.
Some sort of virtualization.
Some sort of virtualization, so you can just be churning out stuff because you got snapshots, you got all these things, so then you can build up and tear things down so quickly, and it's just very valuable, especially in the learning process.
Very cool. So what's your favorite thing so far about LTX?
Probably my favorite thing is just meeting everybody. This is so cool. All these people I've seen on video, just being able to come out here and be like, hey, what's up, man?
That guy. Oh,
I mean,
there's that
some
guy.
of it's a little weird. I walked in this morning, I saw Jay sitting there and like lost his luggage, like just defeated at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, hey, Jay, you don't know me, but I'm Chris Titus. So it's kind of funny.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to over the coming year? Like, what are you excited for technology-wise?
For me, it's really just learning programming, like really expanding that part of my skill set.
And you do that on Livestream as well?
I do that on Livestream as well. So C#, maybe break into Python and other things, and maybe eventually hit Rust and some of the more deeper languages once I've got kind of my legs under me, so to speak. But I'm really looking forward to that.
You did a breakdown of all of the Linux distributions. Can you remind me who was on top of that list in your
Debian.
book?
Debian right here. If you haven't installed Debian, what are you doing with your life?
So if someone's looking to learn Linux, that would be the platform of choice?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a great base. You can do everything with it.
All right, wonderful. Well, we have some rack studs for you here.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you so much for being on the stream.
Thank you for having me. Let me sneak in really quick
Yes.
and say we're about $3,000 now. So if we get to 5,000, I'm going to wear this pink shirt the rest of the day, and I'm going to give somebody here a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, that's worth 3,000 right there.
Almost.
All right, so our next content creator is a guy that I am just this very moment meeting in person. He has been on YouTube for 14 years-ish with tons of subscribers. Come on in here, Quinn from Snazzy Labs. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
What's it like having been on YouTube for so long? I guess that would be my first question.
Well, when you come to a convention like this, you hear a lot of people that go, hey man, I used to watch your videos. You go, oh, thanks. Well, I still make them. But
You're like, I still watch your videos, but I used to also.
yeah,
right?
that's right. Hopefully now also. But they definitely used to.
So
Yeah, no, it's good.
You've been making videos a lot surrounding the Apple ecosystem of products. I know you have delved into like electric vehicles. So serious question, can I have a ride in your Rivian?
Absolutely. Come on. I didn't bring with me. Come on down and the rides are free. No charge.
Wonderful. You heard that, folks. If you're watching this stream,
Reach out, you get a free ride. I don't care who you are. Come on over.
in all seriousness though, being part of the Apple ecosystem and sort of giving your sort of well-reasoned opinions on Apple devices like the Vision Pro, I have to imagine that it sparks some debate in the comments.
Yeah.
And so how do you, as a content creator, deal with all of the, probably, I would say, vitriol that you might get from the opinions that you express?
Yeah. Well, you just have to build up a personality that doesn't get frustrated by that stuff. Because on the one hand, people that love Apple find me too critical. But those who don't love Apple find that I'm too much of a fanboy. So you just find yourself in the middle. The reality is you use what works, and if it works for you and you like it, great. That's all you really need,
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Now, what is one piece of hardware that you think everyone should have in their home lab?
A NetApp DS4246. Those are.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
It's a disk shelf that you can use with anything. They work like across the board. Wendell will get you one. He gets one for everyone. No, honestly though, something that everyone should have. It's a great question. I don't know.
A Vision Pro.
Yeah, maybe. My favorite thing, and it's not rational, I don't use it all the time, but we do LTO backups of all of the stuff on our server. It's just so much fun popping those in and hearing them wind up, and they're ridiculous, but they're great. It's a great way if you have tons and tons and tons of storage, if you can get over the initial cost, or just buy, a generation old. You can get LTO7 stuff now for a pretty decent deal. And tapes are cheap, and it's a great way to store stuff for a super long time for very little money. So, yeah.
So, speaking of getting over the cost, if no one saw your Vision Pro video, or if there's people out there who didn't see it, what was your sort of final thoughts on that device? I know you said that you would buy one, but maybe it's not for everyone. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. I'm buying one mostly because it's my job. I'm fascinated by it because it's so much of a different idea, a different approach to mixed reality and augmented reality in general. They're very much against the idea of this being another VR headset, to the point where they didn't even feature any VR experiences. For developers during WWDC, they said you can, but pretty much everything can be done in mixed reality. That's what you should focus on.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because Oculus has tried to get into that market, but nobody's really done a good job at going beyond the perception that this is just for virtual reality gaming. Can they pull it off? I don't know. I don't know that a lot of people want to spend all day in a headset, but I'm curious to try it out because as someone who does love VR, I think it could be super, super cool. So, anyway.
I agree with you. For me, it's almost like maybe we'll wait for a version 2.
Yeah, that for sure. Price-wise, but the specs, I mean, even if you're against Apple, you can't look at the specs of the headset and not think it's super cool. I mean, it's just an unbelievable amount of hardware. And I can't imagine they're making that much money on them from the get-go.
No, I wouldn't
Probably
think so.
some mere cost would be my bet. But
Quinn, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
And here's some rack studs. You can give those away, or
I'm using these.
there you go. Thanks. All right, I'm going to hand it back to Jeff here.
And we are just about to $3,000. I believe if we hit 3,500, then Rack Studs is going to kick in another $500 match. So please get it up to 3,500. And if we can get it up to 4,000, if we can do that, then I am going to wear that pink Linus shirt for the rest of the day and give somebody here a Raspberry Pi. So let's make somebody's day very happy. I'm doing a very bad job putting this on. But,
All right, while Jeff is doing that, let me tell you a little bit more about the ITDRC. I went out on deployment with them in Florida for hurricane disaster relief, and it was an experience I will never forget. It was humbling. It was so amazing to be helping people. And when you leave deployment, you actually have almost like this euphoric high from helping people. And it's something I've never experienced before. I highly, highly encourage everyone to take a look at volunteering. And certainly if you don't have the ability to volunteer, you can donate right on this stream right here.
all right. Well, next up we have Brandon from TechHut. And Brandon, welcome to the stream. I watched some of your videos here and there. You know, before the stream, I should hold this to you so they can hear you.
Brandon here.
So I looked on your channel to see like what's your most popular videos, because I know you from some of the NAS stuff and like, you know, Homelab things.
Yeah.
But your most popular video is what? It was how to install Windows drivers manually.
Yep.
So it seems like you do a good mix of, you know, Windows, you did some stream deck things.
Yeah.
What got you into home labbing in particular?
Home labbing in particular started, it was mostly streaming. I wanted to stream my own collection of media. Basically, I was tired of pulling my laptop and plugging in the HDMI and doing it that way. So I looked into ways to do it. I thought Chromecasting was kind of lame versus some of the other things you could do. And then that's when I got into like Plex and all that. And it's just kind of snowballed from there in a dramatic way. I look up things just to add to like Docker containers and whatnot.
Yeah.
That might be useful to me or people in my house.
Yeah.
That's basically how that happens.
And then what took you from that to like, I want to share this stuff with the world, get it out on YouTube?
Well, I just like to teach things. I learn a lot of what I do because I want to be able to teach it, or the way it's easiest for me is if I'm expecting to teach it, then I kind of remember it a lot better. And that's just how I go about it. And then I like to put my own spin on things and find the best way to do things, and like find a bunch of different videos on how to do a specific thing, and then pull out all the best components of that to make something that's like truly complete from start to finish. And yeah, that's how I do it.
And speaking of being complete, another thing I noticed on your channel, which I hadn't really realized until I looked it up before the stream, because I've seen a couple of your videos when they pop up in my recommendations, that you do a ton of Linux distros.
Oh yeah.
Like I've used like maybe 10 in my life.
Yeah.
You've probably used 3-4 times that.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it would be a good idea for people to explore different distros, or to pick one and stick with it for a long time?
Honestly, I like to just cover the distros. I look at all these distros so other people really don't have to. It's a lot of times it's not worth doing. In a distribution, there might be a theme change, a graphical change, maybe a custom tool that a developer made. But in most cases, if you just stick with something like Debian, Ubuntu, Arch, if that's your thing, Fedora is my thing generally, then that's probably going to be the better bet. I just look at those so other people don't have to a lot of the times.
Yeah. So what has been your most fun, exciting, interesting thing at LTX this year so far?
Well, it was fun. I was playing, going against people playing Super Mario Kart in there. Just seeing everybody, just meeting a bunch of people.
Do they have that in like retro or something?
Yeah, there's a big cart over there where they have a bunch of video games, and you could play Mario Kart, a bunch of different things in there.
Have you built a screwdriver yet?
I have not. The lines, that's the one thing that's not as fun here, is there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
The people's cool, seeing all these familiar faces under one roof.
Yeah. I think the craziest thing is like seeing your face. Like, a lot of people that watch these channels probably don't realize none of us have met each other.
No.
Pretty much. Almost none of us have met each other. Unless you were like in the game 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The pandemic just changed a lot of things, and this is the first time for so many of us meeting.
Yeah, I didn't really start like uploading my stuff until like 2020.
Yep.
And
that's when I got my start too.
There you go. Yeah, I had too much free time.
Yeah. You have a better beard going on than I do too.
Yeah, it was real thick there for a minute.
All right. Well, I'm going to move on to the next person, but here are your rack studs. Thanks to them for sponsoring, and please keep donating. Do you know what we're at? 2.8? All right, well, we're getting there. Colton's going to come in. Colton is with Hardware Haven, and you just passed 100,000 subs just a
few months ago. Yeah.
So I've been enjoying every one of your videos. The thing I liked the most, the thing I sympathize with, but it's hard to sympathize with sometimes when you're doing YouTube and you know, like, oh, I could call the sponsor and get something, is taking an old junky PC and turning it into a server. And I think that for a lot of us, that might have been like what got us started into computing. What do you find fascinating about that process? Taking something that might have been thrown away or e-waste and making it useful.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, like that's exactly how I did get into like working on computers, was like buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace, or at the time Craigslist, and like being able to like rework it. And there was just a sense of satisfaction of getting that computer working and doing something that, you know, a new computer could do just fine, but like everyone just assumed that was being thrown out and was useless. And so it was finding a way to find usefulness out of something that most people had just, you know, given up on. So
toss away. Another thing that I find fascinating about your channel is sometimes when I'm watching your videos, I don't know, I fall into some Zen state. Would you call yourself like Homelab ASMR? There's just something about your rhythm, about the way that your videos flow.
Yeah, I've been told by some people that I have like a soothing voice. I've also been told by some people that my cadence is awful and they can't stand to listen to me. So I guess it's maybe
not
divisive.
Awful.
So
I don't know. It's something that I don't have that. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Whenever I get on script, that's how I am.
also, for any audio nerds out there, and a Shure SM7B, it does magic. It's a wonderful microphone. I think that's a big part of it. So.
Yeah, well, that's true. My dad, being a radio engineer, he did the EV RE20.
Yeah.
Which is another signature
Both
microphone.
amazing mics.
And we were, Deity Microphones is back there somewhere, and we were geeking out about microphones. The cool thing about this place is there's so many different, like there's people who love overclocking, people who love delitting and doing stuff, people who love 3D printing. There's 2 different 3D printing booths. Not quite like open source, but what's your favorite thing you've seen on the floor here?
Ooh, favorite thing. Maybe the framework stuff, getting to see hands-on. I think that's like such a cool like project, and the project is cool, but also talking to some of the people there was, I think, one of my favorite things. They're really cool and like really clearly passionate about what they're doing. So that one was one of my favorite things, and then just getting to like hang out with other creators and put faces to, well, faces, but not through a screen.
Just
so
like we were
that's
saying
helpful.
with Brandon. Like we never met.
Yeah, we just met like 10 minutes ago.
Literally, yeah, I think you and I met
It's
like
fantastic.
15, like an hour or so before this.
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to be over here. That was our meeting.
Yeah.
So first meeting, I don't think
great,
we've even taken a picture. We should probably do that. But
Yeah.
Can you explain also to the people on the live stream, they might be hearing this loud music all of a sudden. What's going on back there?
Yeah, so there's a massive LAN party over here, and it looks like Linus is playing Beat Saber with someone else. And I think Linus might have just lost. I don't know, but
Nice.
people are eating it up.
All right. So to close things out, if I had $100 and I wanted to start a home lab, what would you say I should do?
$100 to start a home lab?
Yeah.
Okay, no joke, that's actually a video idea for John.
Perfect.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say a home lab can just be, it doesn't need to be multiple things. I think it's pretty easy just to, hey, it really depends on what your needs are. If it's storage, then I'd put more money towards drives. If it's not storage, then I'd put more, towards whatever else. But probably just an older, like, not really old, but like you can find really good deals on like 6th gen Intel. Get a good desktop where there's some room for options, and throw in drives if you need them, throw in networking cards if you need them, because PCIe's really easy. And yeah, you can do a lot. And then, or spend $50 and then spend like $50 on Unraid, or is it 60 or whatever? Unraid's really easy. It's great.
Yeah. What OS would you use on your first computer?
On my first like desktop or like server?
Your server.
If I was telling someone for the first time and they just wanted to do general things, Unraid, but I know it costs money. Oh, it's so tricky because it's like different strokes for different folks. If you want storage, TrueNAS. If you want a lot of things and you don't mind spending money, Unraid. Anything else, just learn how to use Linux and use Debian.
All right. All right. Well, yes, we're about to start blinking. I'm going to get you your rack studs, and
Beeping now.
yeah, and Chris, you're up next, right?
Yes.
So where are we on the donations? 3,000. Okay, so rack studs is going to match, right? I think, did I say they were going to match at 2,500 and 3,000? I don't remember, but I think that rack studs will be matching. And but if we,
So is it pink shirt Jeff time?
I think so. Yeah. All right. You want to hold the microphone?
Sure.
All right. And we're going to be switching to you, so I'll take this off while I'm getting the pink shirt on. There we go. Yeah. Thank you. All right. And then I'll match Linus, except he has staff on his shirt.
You're gonna
Eat the microphone. No.
You're gonna start getting questions now.
Okay. So we got here. Use the camera. Show Chris. Come over here. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
So show the Chris sandals here. So he's got the Linus sandals.
The things we do for charity, right?
Yes. And then up here we got the Linus t-shirt. Well, polo shirt, I guess. It's actually kind of comfortable. I bought this from Amazon Basics.
And you're going to wear that all day.
I am. The rest of today, this is my shirt. No more red shirt, Jeff. I should probably go back and get like a pink screwdriver, but we'll see. All right. Go ahead.
Cheers. All right. Next up on the stream from Linus Media Group, we have Tim Holowacek. Come on in, Tim. So Tim, for those who don't know him, is one of the mechanical engineers here at Linus Media Group. And you've been with the organization for about a year now?
Yeah, just over a year at this point. That's correct.
And so explain what you do, and also tell me, like, what are some of the favorite things that you've worked on over this past year?
Oh, that's a great question. So I primarily work with the lab in their process developments. And so we're basically taking all of our methodologies, turning them into documents that we can use again and again and again, so that we don't make mistakes and we make consistent results with what we're testing. But at the same time, Some of the projects that I worked on have been wild. Like I built this desk for a YouTuber that cost $100,000, and it had a computer inside it. The next video as part of that is going to be coming out tomorrow. We're going to be putting out part 2 of it. I don't know if that's allowed for me to say, but yeah, very excited to see that finally come to fruition because it was one of the first projects I worked on.
Yeah, and you have a like for real mechanical engineering background.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, in the sort of for real mechanical engineering world, how does that compare to working here at LMG?
It's completely different. I was hired as an engineering designer, right? Like I was supposed to be building test apparatus so that we could actually move the mice and test the keyboard switches and all those sorts of things. And I moved into development of like the process side, which is totally different. But we're also still working on that. And if you are an engineering student, you should apply because we have co-op positions that are continuously rolling and we're trying to build that program out. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, no, so you've seen Jeff's, I'm going to pick this up, Jeff.
Carefully.
You have seen Jeff's time contraption here.
That's neat.
As a mechanical engineer, you can hold that.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on this device?
This is absolutely wild. Like, look at the layers here. There's just so much going on. Are they all necessary? Jeff, was this necessary?
Nothing. Only a little bit of that's necessary.
I feel like this is redundant, but very cool. And like that's half of what we build if we're Homelabbers, right?
Have you done a lot of work with these CM4s?
I personally haven't, but I know that we have some in the lab and we have used them a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. That's really neat though.
Very cool. If we hit $5,000 in donations, we're going to smash this on the ground.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Jeff.
Where do I donate?
Oh, sorry. Jeff just gave me the no. So, what has been your favorite part about LTX so far this year?
Oh man, just seeing all the people. Having people come up to me and ask about coffee of all things from my first time on camera has been nuts. I don't know. It's just fascinating the things that people remember. It's been fun.
Yeah. Now, has it changed anything in your own daily life? You've ever been recognized outside of?
Oh yeah. Getting used to the whole like parasocial relationship thing has been completely weird. And it's been a learning curve, but I really enjoy it too.
So, what are you looking forward to over the next, say, year of projects that are coming down? You don't need to give anything away, but like, what are you looking forward to?
One thing I can give away is that the LTT Labs website will be launching. I can't say exactly when, but we will be launching for sure in the next year. And once that gets up and running, we're going to be slowly expanding our verticals so that we can review and test everything comprehensively.
And so what's the purpose of the LTT Labs website?
Oh, sure. That's basically trying to take different components, different electronic types, and make sure that the claims that the manufacturers make are correct. We want to validate independently to make sure that you aren't being sold a bill of goods.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks,
Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
And next up, we have...
It's blinking.
You may know this next gentleman from Short Circuit, hosting videos about unboxing and setting up all sorts of various types of components and whatnot. Also, just a guy that you kind of want to go have a beer with.
Yeah.
Dan Besser,
like a nice
everybody.
talk to me. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, did you bring the Diablo robot with you?
No, I did not. I can't tell if that's going back to the manufacturer or if we're going to rip it apart and do something fun with the motors. Because those motors are insane.
Yeah, the direct drive motors.
Absolutely, yeah.
You said something on that video that I thought was very appropriate because it's exactly what I was thinking the whole time. What's the purpose of this thing?
What is the purpose of the thing? In my interpretation, I think it was more of a marketing tool for their motors because, like, it's just not the proper platform for, useful things, right? But the motors are really powerful and they're useful in robotic arms and, like, stuff that you can actually do stuff with. So, yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Now, I've seen you do unboxings and configuration setups of everything from 3D printers to speakers and the robot, of course.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've unboxed that you would personally actually purchase in your personal life?
Oh man, there was a couple of the Sony speakers actually that I found were really a good value, which was very surprising. Some of the price performance stuff is always really interesting to see because you'll hear something perform really well and you'll be like, they're gonna charge $2,000 for this, but then it's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
But
so when you're doing these videos, do you sort of pick and choose the products that you do, or are they kind of assigned to you? And
It's a little bit of a both. We each have like different levels of content experts at LMG, and because I deal with like audio and broadcast and kind of more mechanical style stuff, I generally get assigned those more so than like headphones or keyboards, because we have other content experts that deal with those specifically.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't do them too often. I'm still, producing the WAN show every Friday and doing a video here and there, but I'm not a normal host. I'm like scraping the barrel of like, oh, we need to get a video out today. Well, we got Dan, he can do it. Yeah.
Well, you might not be a normal host, but it seems to be a lot of dedicated fans that particularly love your sort of relaxed style of getting into a project. So
Exactly.
when you're faced with a new product that you're going to unbox and set up, do you just go in cold, or do you kind of have some idea of how you want it to go?
So short circuit, there's kind of a framework. You unbox the product, you do first impressions, and then you see if you like it or not. But normally, like, we've got sponsored ones and not sponsored ones. So the sponsored ones, they give you a bunch of talking points. And they say, you got to mention these features. And so you kind of get an outline of, all right, it's a speaker, and it is waterproof, and it can go this loud, and the battery lasts this long.
You got a checklist.
You got a checklist. So that's just kind of the specs of the product. And then you sit down and you experience it for the first time. And it's always the first experience. We're not allowed to like play with it beforehand. We can do a bit of research on it if we want to like get talking points and have a flow, right? Because normally you would unbox it and maybe you describe the physical characteristics. But generally, I think the vibe is, who have they made this product for? Does it perform to a level that I would expect? And is it worth the money?
Yeah.
And normally, none of those are true. But sometimes all of them are true, and it's really quite incredible. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, you have a very relaxed style when you're doing these videos. Very pleasant to watch, and you strike me as the kind of guy who, like, even though you've never seen this particular product before, you're an expert at tech, and so you can dig in, and it's gonna be okay. Which I think is a great way to approach a lot of projects.
Yeah, I think any kind of product or even project, they're all very similar. And if you don't know something, you can just like Google it and then learn, right? There's so much information out there, and I don't know, I just take stuff apart, break it, fail at it, and try and learn that way, I think has always been my approach. And so you can put anything in front of me and then you can get a gist of it, and I think from there you just pretend.
Do they have any restrictions on like cursing while you're setting it up, or you kind of just...
I mean, so the restriction I think right now is more, don't make more work for the editors. I generally am not very clean in my language. And so it can get a little bit grating and offensive if you're just dropping expletives all the time.
Yes.
But if you throw one in near the end
at the
like,
right time.
At the right time, and it's worth it to make the editors go in and like bleep it, I think that's fine. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, Dan Besser, thank you so much for coming on the stream.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Here's some rack studs.
Rack studs.
You can't find those anywhere.
Well, that's our fault. We got rid of all of them. I'm sorry. Thanks, guys.
Come on in, Jeff.
All right.
All right, I guess we're going to be wrapping it up.
What are we up to? 3.7K, something like that. So almost 4,000. So
thank you all very, very much.
I don't have to go
everyone that
shirtless
donated.
the rest of the day. That's good.
Was that an option?
Maybe if we got up to 10,000. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much to Chris. Thanks to all the creators who came. And one more time, can you tell us what ITDRC was for anybody that didn't get to see the little...
So definitely go check them out. ITDRC.org is the website. It's the IT Disaster Resource Center. These are the folks that come in after a major disaster and make sure everyone has the connectivity they need to build back up. It's a wonderful organization. Also check into volunteering if you have the capability.
And down in the description, there's links to every creator, including Chris and I. Well, you're on my stream, so you can see me. Anyway, every creator who's on this is down there. Go check out their channel, subscribe. There'll probably be, I think there's a WAN show tonight from LTX. So if you want LTX content, watch that. It'll be very fun, I'm sure. And, we have a few more minutes.
Oh, we did have a giveaway.
Oh,
How are we
did.
going to do that, though?
Yeah. We could hold it up and be like, who wants this?
You want to do that? All right.
What is it? Unify
so-
sent over, what is this?
Ubiquiti was nice enough to give us one of their Unify Protect G5 Pro cameras. These things are absolutely amazing. They work with Unify Protect, and we're going to give it away.
Would anybody like a Unify camera?
Unify camera!
I didn't plan this.
I'm just going to pick one. There you go.
All right. Okay, now, since you already won, you can't win this. Does anybody want a Raspberry Pi? Yeah. All right. You said yes first, so there you go. All right. Yep.
All right, well, that was easy.
And we can sign them if you want or whatever, too, but you can stick around for a second. Yeah. Anyway, fun live stream.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
And thank you to Rack Studs, and thank you to Ubiquiti for helping sponsor this stream. Again, check out itdrc.org for all of the info.
Yep. And thank you to Linus Tech Tips, or Linus Media Group, for putting this whole thing together, for getting, these cool setups.
I got to go get mine. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Yes, try to get there early because the line is very long. But check out WAN Show, and this video will be, for anybody who's been asking, it will be VOD, so it'll be available after the fact. I'll put chapter markers on it later, or if someone wants to comment down there. We did stick to the time pretty well. We have like 2 minutes left here, but I think we can conclude it early so that our voices can recover just a smidge, since we're both going to be on a panel here at LTX for Homelabbers tomorrow.
That's right.
So thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
All right. Wonderful.